Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Absolutely Podcast, the podcast specifically designed to help women defeat diet culture and to live their dream healthy lifestyle. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my summer travel non-negotiables since I was out of town this past weekend. And I just thought more girls need to listen to how I go about vacations because I used to be totally on the side of the camp of I have to stay on track, and vacations used to really stress me out. And now, since adopting these few non negotiables and really just simplifying my routine on vacation, I've been able not only to enjoy my vacation, but also stay on track with my health and fitness. So, I'm going to be telling you what those things are, and they are very simple, but really, really make a big difference when it comes to staying on track with your health and fitness goals, even when on vacation. So, that is going to be today's episode. It probably will be a shorter one. To be honest, I almost didn't record today because this week, the past couple weeks have just been a whirlwind. So I'm going to do a life update first, and then I'll roll into the actual episode of things. So if you don't want to listen about my life, I will not be offended if you skip forward like 10 to 15 minutes. But I need to yap a little bit about my own life right now because why wouldn't I? This is my podcast. I can say absolutely whatever I want. So, number one, I am not in my typical location. I'm actually in my living room right now, and I have a special guest behind me, Sir Archibald. Archibald is behind me sleeping. That's my dog, if you didn't know that. But he was in boarding the past few days, and so he's just happy to be home and snuggling next to his mom. But the reason why I am sitting out here is because my sister is staying at my apartment currently, and she is in the process of moving to Scottsdale from Utah. So she's making the same move that I did. And I am just so excited. She was originally going to move to New York City, which I know New York City and Scottsdale are very polar opposite, different cities. Obviously, I've lived in Scottsdale now for a little over 2 years. I love it. I moved from Salt Lake City to Scottsdale 2 years ago, and I have not looked back whatsoever. But my sisters have their own lives. They can do whatever they want. They're young and fun and cute and can make their own life wherever they want to. So I never was pushing her to move here. She made the decision. And I don't know why I'm explaining this whole thing. I'm just excited that she made the decision, honestly, for her to move here and to have the new beginning. This morning we went and picked up her keys to her new apartment, and it just like sent me in all my feels of remembering how exciting it was to just have a fresh, new, clean slate. And I just remember when I made that move from Salt Lake City here, I was so freaking nervous. I was like, am I going to be a complete loner? Am I going to hate it? Am I going to be miserable here in the summers with all this heat? There were so many unknowns, and I'm just so proud of myself for making that decision. And now she has made the same decision. It's a scary one. Like whenever you're making a big life choice, obviously, like moving, I mean, even just starting like a health and fitness journey, like I help women do, it can be really scary to make that transition. But I mean, the more power to her and for making that change and committing to it. And I'm just happy to be down here to help her out. So she's staying with me this week. We're having a little girls' week, and it's been so much fun, honestly. Like I've been making her dinner, and we went and got a couple of silly drinks today. We got a coffee, lunch, tea. I just miss all of like the little sister things that we used to do together. Backstory, when I was in college, we lived together for 2 years, and we're just like the bestest of friends. I have two younger sisters, so this is the middle one, and then I have one younger one that lives in Utah still. So Gracie is the one that's moving here, and she is just like my best friend. Like she is so much fun. They're both my best friends, but one of my best friends is moving here, and it's just going to be so much fun to just have someone to go and grab a coffee with, or have dinner, just laugh. Like we got the gigs so bad this morning. I was actually crying because we were just like delusional. It was so hot and like in the parking garage and stuff, and her key like wouldn't work. So we had to call the leasing office guy like to come up again. And he was just like funny, and we were laughing so hard. And I have not almost peed my pants as many times as when she's been here, just like out of pure just like giggling and laughing. And I really, really, really miss those like deep belly laughs that only you can get with a sister. So anyways, she's staying here. That's why I'm sitting on the floor in my living room. She went to her new apartment to set things up, and I needed to record my podcast, which was almost the reason why this podcast didn't happen today, because it has been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks. I actually haven't done a life update now in 2 weeks because last week I had my client interview story, and Dina didn't need to hear my whole life update when I did my client interview, and that one was so good. I seriously love doing client interviews because it's such a great opportunity for me to like chat with my clients and for them to share their stories. And I always leave those client interviews just like feeling so rewarded and fulfilled and all of the things. So I was really excited to do that, but I didn't get to do any sort of life update. So I believe on my last life update I kind of prefaced like what the next couple of weeks were going to look like for me. And it's just been crazy. So last week over the 4th of July, I kind of just like chilled, stayed at home, worked. I onboarded a few clients, which was super fun and had my hands full with that alone. And then I went to my boyfriend's hometown on Saturday and we had a wedding to go to. I'd never been there before in Bellingham, Washington. So that was super fun to enjoy the cooler weather, go on a bunch of just like walks and enjoy the trees and wildlife and all of that stuff. I'm making it sound like we camped or whatever, but we definitely did not. But it was overall just a fun, good time. And it was nice to get out of the heat for a second. And yeah, it was definitely a very fun weekend, but I got back on Tuesday morning and it has just been like such a crazy time preparing for Gracie to come here and just like getting my overall life together. Like Tuesday was one of like the busiest days of my life and I was just exhausted. I woke up with the airport scaries because I was traveling that morning. Got home at 11, went to Chipotle, fueled up, went to the gym, work. I had to do all my check-ins and I'm not complaining right now. I'm just saying it was like just a crazy day. And then Gracie came into town yesterday and she has been in town since. So has definitely been crazy, but we'll get through it. Just don't have any other crazy plans until my family comes to town next week to help her fully move in and to bring some stuff down from Utah. So that'll be fun, but I'm excited to have just kind of like a next couple of weeks to just be chill and not do as much stuff and to just be fit Abbie in her apartment and in her slow life. Like I truly enjoy my routine. I truly enjoy staying home and making my sourdough and stuff. You might have heard a second ago, my oven just beeped because it's preheating for my 4th loaf of sourdough I've made, and I'm making it for my sister, and I'm making another batch for my parents for them to take home. So it's gonna be awesome. Let's see what else is going on. So I am obsessed with Love Island right now. I'm not gonna spoil anything because I was listening to a podcast and I got spoiled. I won't drag the influencer that did that. And just kidding, I don't care. It's not that big of a deal, but I've been obsessed with Love Island. Gracie and I are going to watch the Casa Amor episode tonight, and we just keep joking about Casa Amor. So it's been just so fun, and I've had a great week. But I have a lot of work to do and stuff like that, client work and stuff. I've been getting all of that done, and on top of all the just life things. So it's been a fun couple of weeks, but I'm excited to kind of get a little bit more back into routine. But I really haven't been out of routine for that long. It just feels like a long time because I've been doing a lot. I've been back to back to back, which is good, but also like I need to chill a little bit. Archie's behind me scratching the couch. If you can hear that, just mind your own business. Archie, stop it. Okay, so let's get into the episode now that I've been blabbing about just irrelevant things for the past 10 minutes or so. So let's talk about the summer travel non-negotiables that I have. And this doesn't just apply to summer travel. This can apply to just travel in general, where I think summer kind of applies a little bit more to a couple of the things that I'll mention about like going on walks and stuff because it does require some nicer weather. But these things can apply to travel regardless of whether it is in the summer or not. And like I said in the beginning, like I used to be so freaked out and nervous to go on vacation because I thought that was going to literally ruin all of my progress. And I thought that I'd come back from the trip and gain 10 pounds and feel terrible and whatever. And at the end of the day, what I realized is that it is not that serious. If you go on the trip and you don't just completely binge, go off the rails, go crazy, like your body knows what to do. And especially if you have the skills and tools to know how to fuel your body and to do it in a balanced way, like I've learned and like I teach my clients, you can go on these trips and feel confident that when you come back, you're not going to be up 5 to 10 pounds on the scale. And that is something that has been so freeing for me. I used to have this thought when I was booking a trip, like, oh, I really want to go on this trip, but I'm nervous about falling off track. And that should never be something that you fear on your fat loss journey, on your maintenance journey, whatever. And these few things that I'm going to talk about and list out in a second are what I follow on my trips to make sure that I am staying on track. I will not lie. I am usually not tracking my macros on trips. I'm usually not hitting all of my strength training workouts like I do normally on trips, because you're not going to be in control of everything. And if you try to be, your trips are going to be way less enjoyable. You might be a pain in the ass to your family and friends, and no one wants to be that. That being said, I have been on trips where I have hit my macros perfectly. I have strength trained in the right environment, but you really have to be self-aware on, okay, how manageable is that going to be on my trip? If I'm going home to visit my parents, I'm probably hitting my macros. I'm probably getting my strength training workouts in, because it's not like I'm in Italy gallivanting the streets of Positano. I am at my parents' house and I don't have that much stuff to do, right? So it's totally different in that regard. So I think the number one thing to ask yourself is, okay, what kind of trip is this? How manageable are my health goals going to be on this trip? Because a lot of times, going to my parents' house, I could just be like, F it, I'm not going to track. I'm going to drink as much as I want. I'm going to whatever. But like, is that really worth it in the grand scheme of things? I like to have the balance in my life. 80-20 balance is what I follow regardless of whether I'm on vacation or at home. I make mostly balanced whole foods, good choices for me, but 20% I allow myself to live my life. So I take those same rules and I apply that to vacation as well. So let's go over the few things. I know I've just been making this super long-winded over here. But the number one thing I do, and I make a non-negotiable on trips, is to get my steps in. You can ask my boyfriend this past weekend. I drug him out to get my steps in with him. Or with me. So I love getting my steps in on vacation because it is such a great opportunity to, one, explore the city, get some activity in. It helps your digestion. It's good to get out in the sunshine. And this is especially easy when you're on a summer vacation because you can go on a beach walk. You can go on a lake walk. One thing that we did in Washington was we went on this long lake walk, and that was like literally one of the highlights of my trip. I'm like, wow, am I just like a cheap date over here? Because also walking for the most part is free unless you go to a paid trail or whatever. But it's a really great activity to get your steps in, get your activity up, but also explore the city. And it's a relaxing, fun thing to do as well. So I will make it a non-negotiable to get my 10K steps in. And usually that comes pretty naturally, especially if you are on a trip where you are wanting to explore. If you're on a trip that is more like a beach trip, I've definitely been on those where I just want to be a couch potato, or not really couch potato, like a chair potato, and just lay in my beach chair all day. What I will do is wake up in the morning, go on a long beach walk, maybe go one at night, just to get those steps in. And it really isn't hard if you just do it a little bit throughout the day. For instance, when I went to Mexico in May, one thing I did was I got a workout in the morning. I did like a short lift because they had a gym at the place, so it was easy. And I personally love getting a little bit of a workout in on vacation just because I have extra time and it feels good for me to move my body. So I would just get some steps in there. And then throughout the day, I would just do a little loop around the pool, get a little steps in there. And it's amazing how much those little tiny bits add up big time throughout your day. So steps are a non-negotiable for me on vacation. I am hitting my 10K steps no matter what. I am making it work. And that really helps me as far as staying on track goes with my, like my calorie burn and whatever, but also just my digestion, just feeling my best energy wise. Steps is something that really, really, really is important. This isn't one of my non-negotiables, but if I can get in a workout, like I kind of mentioned a second ago, I will, just to move my body. If not, like body weights, workouts, bands, steps, just something small. I try to move my body at least a little bit every day, but usually steps covers that, especially on vacation. So that is what I try to focus on vacation. If there is a gym, I'll go just because I think it's fun and I enjoy working out. But it shouldn't be something that you're stressing yourself out. Like if you don't have a gym on vacation, or if you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have to go to the gym, but my family doesn't want me to go. Like make it a pain in their butt. It's your goals, and you can do steps and body weight workouts and band workouts if needed as well. So that is the activity side of things. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. And then my next non-negotiable is drinking my water. This is such an easy one to do, and a lot of people neglect this on vacation, and they shouldn't. Here's why. When you're on vacation, your water retention is going to be higher than usual because you're going to be eating a lot more different foods than typical. So you're going to really want to make sure you are drinking enough water. Also, with being out in the sun a lot during the summer, you're going to feel dehydrated. So getting some water in is going to really, really help you to stay less bloated, have less water retention, and overall have better digestion. I know me, and I know a lot of gals that have had my clients. have issues with going to the bathroom on vacation. I'm going to call myself out right now. Sometimes I don't go on vacation because I don't know. It's just a symptom of something bigger, apparently. But it's very normal to have trouble with going to the bathroom on vacation. So water is going to be one thing that really helps with that. And a lot of times it's because you're dehydrated. That's why you're not going to the bathroom on vacay. So I like to get water in purely for that purpose. Another thing you can do is bring electrolyte packets on your trip. So I will a lot of times bring my element packets on the trip. Not a lot of times, literally every time I travel, I bring element packets because I swear when I travel, I just always am feeling thirsty and dehydrated. And I love my element electrolyte packets because you can be drinking water and still not feel hydrated if you don't have the right electrolyte balance in your body. So I love to take those. I can link them in my podcast description. They're on my Amazon storefront, but I literally take one every single day, and I really credit that to like hydrating my body and actually making me feel less thirsty and like fully hydrated. When I moved from Utah to Arizona, I remember just like getting all these headaches and just feeling unwell and like I could never quench my thirst. And ever since incorporating my element packets, I don't feel that anymore. And I love, love, love them. Number 4 non-negotiable is I really try to get in my sleep. When I'm on vacation, the last thing I want to do is come back and feel exhausted. And I feel like no matter how much I work on my sleep on vacation, I'm always a little bit exhausted when I come home. Like I am still tired today. And I think it's just a lingering, just traveling and whatever makes me tired. But I try my best to get my 7+ hours of sleep, even on vacation. Unless I'm doing a vacation where I'm like going to Vegas or something, which is very rare. I am usually in bed by 9-10 p.m. and I'm getting my sleep in. And this is a great time to catch up on sleep. If you are typically working, you're 9 to 5, you're not sleeping as much. This is a great time to catch up on sleep and to really focus on that. That's a short one, but I love sleeping on vacation. Like put me in a bed. I'll stay there for a long time on vacation, and going to bed early as well, so that way you can wake up and enjoy the day and not be hungover and feel like crap the whole day, and be able to go on your walks and stuff like that. There's nothing better than waking up not hungover on vacation. The 5th and final non-negotiable, I like to make non-negotiables short and sweet, have a few of them. That way I'm not like, I need to do this and this and this. And then it becomes just a big chore. Like we don't want this to feel like a chore. We want this to feel like something that makes you feel good. And the reason why you're doing these non-negotiable things is so that you feel your best on vacation, right? Not so you can be skinny and whatever. Like that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to feel better and to have a healthy lifestyle, even on vacation, to keep those habits up. So 5th and final thing is nutrition. So the bare minimum thing I do at each meal is I make sure I have a serving of protein. Even if all else fails, even if I cannot even have a vegetable, there's no vegetables in sight, I am trying to pick the highest protein option at every meal. So for instance, this weekend, I really tried to have a lot of salads with high protein in them. At the wedding, they had tacos, so I got a big order of the tacos with the protein on them. So there are ways to make sure you're getting protein in each meal. Typically, when you go to a restaurant and you're selecting a meal that doesn't have protein on it, you're doing that deliberately. Like choose an option that has protein in it. And that will help you so much with your fitness goals because it will make you feel more full for longer. So you're not going to eat the whole plate of pasta. You'll probably actually end up having less pasta because you have a protein with it. You don't have to only get the protein. Like if there's a pasta with shrimp on top, perfect. I'm going to choose that over just a pasta that's plain. And a lot of restaurants, you can ask for substitutions. So a lot of times I'll say, hey, I'll have the, I love like the spicy tomato sauce. That's like one of my favorite dishes, but a lot of times it doesn't have like any sort of protein on it. So I'll say, hey, can I have the pasta? I'm like blanking on the name of it. Or is it arrabbiata or something with shrimp on top? And they'll usually say yes. Okay. So don't be afraid to ask for substitutions. And even if they don't have it on the menu, ask and see if you can add protein to it. Most places are happy to do that. And you can totally do that if there isn't an option that has protein on it that you want. So that's something I always do is I will get protein at each meal, bare minimum. I am literally never having a meal that doesn't have protein on it. If I want pizza, great. I'll share pizza at the table. Usually pizza is shared with multiple people, but maybe I'll get a Caesar with chicken on it. Like that is a great thing to do because you're going to have the Caesar salad chicken, probably feel pretty full and only have like 1-2 slices of pizza and be totally content. So Protein is so important. It helps balance your blood sugar, make you feel better long term. So that way you don't end up eating way more than you need to. So love having protein in each meal. It's also good for keeping your muscle mass on your body, and obviously like your hormonal health and physical health as well. Another thing I do protein wise is bring high protein snacks. I am bringing snacks on vacations. I'm not just going into the trip and just saying, hope I do good. Like, I am planning ahead. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I am successful on vacation is because I'm bringing high protein snacks. I'm bringing protein bars. I'm bringing jerky sticks. And even if I don't have them, I at least have them when I'm in a pinch. Like I had jerky sticks in my bag this whole weekend. I was like laughing because every time I opened my bag, like a jerky stick would fall into the ground. I'm like, here's me and my meat sticks. But it really does help to be prepared and to make sure that you have those things on hand. That way, if you do have an issue, you can just have a little bit of a jerky stick and feel a lot better. And then the second thing I do with nutrition is try to have as many micronutrients as I can when possible. I know it is sometimes hard to have micronutrients, but a lot of times places you can have a side salad, you can have a side of veggies. So that's something I really try to do is bare minimum, try to get protein in each meal. And then if I can have micronutrients, I will have that as well. For the most part, I do these two things at each meal, but the rare circumstance that there like isn't something on the menu that is micronutrient dense or protein dense, obviously you just have to take the L and say, okay, next meal, gonna get something high protein, right? But if you're deliberately making the choice to not eat those things, that's when you have an issue. So I really try to focus on those two things. And that really, really helps me, especially when I'm not tracking. This is something that really keeps me on track and just feeling my best as well. So I really, really, really highly recommend that. But that is all I have for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will chat with you all next week. Bye.